Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to talk about the U.S. buying of this $290 million worth of this radiation sickness drug. This is leading to the conclusion that there's going to be a nuclear catastrophe. And as I said before, there's not going to be any nukes. Just one nuke would destroy everything globally. They're not going to use nukes. Not on the land anyway. They need the land. They don't want it radioactive like that. And they don't even know where the wind going to travel, where the radiation fallout going to be, and it's just going to cause more problems. They're not going to use any nukes. And now in the water, that's a different story. They don't care about the ocean. You don't hear about any elites trying to escape underwater. Now they could drop one underwater and cause a tsunami, like I said before. But as in dropping one on land, that's not going to happen. That's not going to. I don't see that reality. But I could be wrong. It won't be the first time. And another reason I believe they're not going to use nukes, because they haven't played the alien invasion card yet, unless they're the cleanup crew. The reason I'm making this video is because I want you to be aware of something. We're going to start with this article by NBC News. In other words, despite President Joe Biden's warning that the risk of nuclear Armageddon is the highest it has been since the Cuban Missile Crisis, the purchase of the drug for radiation sickness is coincidental, according to the HHS, the Department of Health and Human Services. Let's go back a sec. The purchase of the drug for radiation sickness is coincidental. There's that word again. As soon as they start using that word, start paying attention. In other words, despite Joe Biden's, you know what, this is funny. Despite President Joe Biden's warning that the risk of nuclear Armageddon. This is crazy to me because all you hear on the TV is nukes, nukes, nuke, nuke, nuke. But people, and I'm hearing everybody saying the same thing I'm saying. People walking around unfazed. They don't even care. They're clueless. It doesn't even faze them. Nobody's phased. It's confusing. I'm going to talk about that later. N-plate, manufactured by the U.S. drug maker Amgen, was approved by the Food and Drug Administration in 2021 to treat injuries caused by acute radiation syndrome, also known as radiation sickness. It was also approved in 2008 to treat an autoimmune disorder that caused excessive bleeding. 2008, the last crash. The HHS didn't comment on when the decision to order the drug was made or whether it predated the Russian invasion of Ukraine in February, but it noted that the department began supporting the development of the drug back in 2019 after earlier involvement from the National Institutes of Health. 2019, that's the year all this stuff began. All right, keep the gist of everything I just read in mind. Now we go to funding. 2019 to 2029. The Pandemic and All Hazards Preparedness and Advancing Innovation Act of 2019, that word right there, increased the authorization for the project Bioshield from $2.8 billion over 5 years to $7.1 billion over 10 years. If you follow me on Bitchute, I made a comment about the 10-year plan from 2020 to 2030. See how these things connecting? 10 years you added on to it. Even if it don't connect, still put it together because eventually they will connect. 10 years. However, this funding has not yet been appropriated by Congress. Okay, keep that in mind. Let's move on to the next. HHS purchased drug for use in radiological and nuclear emergencies. As part of a long-standing, ongoing efforts to be better prepared to save lives, boy, they sure are bent on saving our lives, aren't they? Following radiological and nuclear emergencies, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is purchasing a supply of the drug N-plate from Amgen US Inc. N-plate is approved to treat blood cell injuries accompanying acute radiation syndrome in adult and pediatric patients, ARS. Amgen, based in Thousand Oaks, California, developed N-plate for ARS with support from Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, BARDA. See, that was easy. BARDA. Part of the HHS Administration for Strategic Preparedness and Response. ASPR. See, now we're doing it. As well as the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, part of the National Institutes of Health. BARDA is using this authority provided under the 2004 Project Bioshield Act and $290 million in Project Bioshield designated funding to purchase this supply of the drug. Amgen will maintain this supply and vendor-managed inventory. This approach decreases lifecycle management costs for taxpayers because doses that's near expiration can be rotated into the commercial market for rapid use prior to expiry, and new doses can be added to the government supply. Gee, that was a long sentence. So, what's happening here? What's happening is we're being robbed. Look at this. Let's go back to this first one. Nplate, manufactured by U.S. drug maker Amgen, was approved by the Food and Drug Administration in 2021. That was last year. It just got approved for use last year, conveniently before a nuclear war. And then why are we buying the expired one? What's the shelf life on these things anyway? Wait a minute. New doses can be added to the government supply. To me, that sounds like we buying their old shit. How long was they sitting on it? As if they was anticipating some major event that was about to happen. We're being robbed. This country is being robbed so these people could use every dollar to buy hard asset before the collapse. Now here's something I want to talk about the people, the slower class. You have Biden talking about nuclear Armageddon and they making it publicly known that they buying this radiation drug and they keep talking about nukes. And the people, it doesn't even faze them. There's no sense of urgency. The shelves where I'm at just still got some little bit of stuff left. Nobody. It's strange, man. It's a strange place right now. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's saying anything. They talk about everything else. You know, I go in the store. I look at people's shopping carts, see what they buying. People be buying stuff, getting ready for parties, getting ready to go camping, getting ready to have a cookout. I don't see nobody prepared, except people that's going fishing and hunting. I don't see nobody packing stuff that's gonna last them throughout the winter. It's funny because it backfires on the predator class. Right now, this whole thing is theater. They got to raise up the fear factor. So now they bringing in the nukes, the threats of the nukes, and this medication, and they trying to, and you know Halloween's coming up, so they trying to raise the fear factor, and then you got this full moon too. So they trying to raise the fear factor up, so they do whatever they do, and it could have a drawback because if this don't faze the American people, they're gonna have to up it a notch, which I don't know what that could be. But that's the funny part about it. The people just, they're so unaware that the predator class can't really put fear in them like they want them to. They can't guide them. That's what's funny about it. They're so unaware that, to be honest, it's like looking at a busy anthill just before it get kicked. These people showing no signs of fear. I could take a nuke. That ain't nothing. Kim Jong-un threat us all the time. That ain't nothing. Putin ain't gonna use that. I mean, this is good for us though. That's great. We winning because this is gonna change. They're gonna have to change their plan because I guess they assume we'll speed up a little bit because they do want us to speed up because they're gonna turn up the heat. You know already those warehouses caught on fire with the Amazon warehouses. They catch it on fire way early in the morning before the sun comes up. Isn't that something? And then those pop-up warehouses, they still fine. I don't hear nothing about those. Not suggesting anything, it's just odd. Anyway, I just want everyone, especially new listeners, to be aware and wake up and realize that this war is about human extermination. I like to thank the slower class nonchalant attitude for buying those that are prepared more time to gather more things. Until you wake up, thank you. To everyone else, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Be safe, and I'll talk to you real soon. Peace.